It's Sharon Van Etten here on Radio K, live in studio. She's playing tonight at the Varsity Theater with Bowerbirds. It's 8 p.m., 18 plus. Your new record is out. It's called Because I Was in Love. Came out this summer, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it's your first full-length album, but more importantly, it's your first professionally recorded album, right?
Yes.
And your previous EPs were made at home. They were handmade. You used paper bags and paint for sleeves.
Yes.
And when I read that, I thought that was so cool. And I don't know, what made you decide to record this album professionally as opposed to the rest of them?
Well, the opportunity presented itself. And I also just didn't have the time or the means to continue hand making them in my parents' basement. Their ping pong table is destroyed now. But I met Greg Weeks in England when I was on tour with Meg Baird from Espers, and I just gave him a handmade CD, and within a month he wrote me and wanted to have it done properly, but no one had ever really offered me that before.
Wow. And so is this just like a re-recording of something you had recorded at home?
A lot of the songs are old demos, but this time they're without hiss from the internal mic from my laptop, so I think a lot more people hurt less listening to it.
Was that the only mic that you used to record them?
For the most part, yes. Later on, I invested in a condenser mic, which was really hi-fi for me, but it's still pretty lo-fi when I record at home.
And do you still sort of make records at home, or do you sell some of your handmade records still on your tours?
I sell my home recordings, and I had my friend make covers for them.
Oh, cute.
But I haven't had time to paint any more of the sleeves, so I'm hoping to do it again though once I have some more demos out. I like hearing what people think of newer songs without it being a commitment of a release, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And so your new record is titled Because I Was in Love, which to me at least feels like a sentence that sort of needs completion. And in your liner notes, you extend a thank you to everyone that has ever broken my heart, without whom I would never have written these songs. Is that sort of, does that sort of represent what the record is about? Is it about like crazy things that people do for love?
Completely. It's everything I've ever been through and anything all of my friends have ever been through and everything fictional characters I've read about have been through. And it's summed up, that line is from a Richard Brautigan piece. He's one of my favorite writers and absurdist, and you know, he makes nonsense out of some really serious topics, and that is where the title came from, but a lot of it is from my past.
And so, if I can ask you, what is the craziest thing you've ever done for love? Or did I put you on the spot there?
There's a lot of crazy things I have done, but I moved to Tennessee for one, and I stayed in Tennessee, which in itself is pretty crazy coming from Jersey. You know, dropping out of college and deciding to pursue a job at a cafe, seriously, that is pretty funny. And to stop playing music because he told me I wasn't any good is pretty crazy.
Oh my goodness.
And staying with him for 6 years is pretty crazy. But then I left, and I didn't feel as crazy, so.
Well, that's good. And your writing style has been sort of described as very direct and very personal, and your lyrics, you sort of use one person, you say like you a lot, and to address your audience, and I don't know, I kind of thought it was sort of like a one-sided telephone conversation. Is that how you connect with your audience, or like how did this style develop for you?
Well, I listen to lots of different kinds of music, but I always wanted to write the kind of music where I felt like it was a conversation with the listener. I try not to be overly poetic because I want it to be a normal conversation, and I want it to be the way that I actually talk. So I tried to make it really simple and direct, but also being pretty truthful to my life. So
Good. Well, what are your plans for the rest of the year? Can we expect another record out soon?
I hope so. I'm going to try really, really hard. I have a hard time saying no to shows and touring, but I'm really going to try and buckle down in the spring and get some demos together and see who wants to help me release it.
Perfect. All right. Well, it's Sharon Van Etten live on Radio K. Her new record is called Because I Was in Love. She's playing tonight at the Varsity Theater with Bowerbirds, 8 p.m. It's 18 plus. Can we hear a few more from you?
Sure.
Awesome.